Hey there, Mr. Weaver here. Gonna give you a quick overview and rundown of how to do some of the things in Google Docs. We're also going to go through some of the formatting that you're going to need to use for essays for MLA format. So, first thing, an essay should be formatted in a specific ways to make it easier to read. The format that you're going to use is called MLA. So, first, you're going to need your name, teacher's name, class, and date. They're going to be left aligned, which just means that they are going to be using this button right here where it says left align, and it pushes it to the left. So you need your name, your teacher's name, your class, so in this case it's probably going to be what hour you have, and the date. Okay, right below that you're also going to have your title, but the title is going to be center aligned. It's the only thing in the whole paper that should be center aligned. So I'm going to call this one How to Format Your Essay. Alright, so in general, your formatting for your essay, it's kind of boring looking, but this is how all your essays are going to end up looking from high school to college to if you need to write papers in the future. Think about how a book's read. That most of them all look the same. So you're going to first take out all this color excitingness. I'm going to highlight all of it, and I'm going to change the color to black. Okay. I'm also going to change my font, which is the text, kind of how it looks, to what's called Times New Roman. Okay, it's a standard, boring format, but it's generally what essays use. Okay, the other thing you're going to is make it left aligned. Now, I had highlighted my title, so I'm going to have to change it back to center. But the format should be left aligned. Okay. The other thing that it says here, so we changed it to Times New Roman, but it should be size 12. Here you can see we have size 22. So I'm going to highlight all of it and change it to 12. Notice it's a lot smaller. Okay. If you're having trouble reading it, or if it's too big for your liking, there is a zoom. So I can zoom fit. It will make it large, or if I want to just kind of see how it would look if I printed it, I can zoom it at 100%. Okay, now continuing to look in, it is not bold, underlined, or a color other than black. So we changed already to black, but we have bold down here and we have underlined through here. So I'm going to make it so it's not underlined and not bold. Sometimes you might have to click the button twice, okay, but we want nothing special about it. Alright, so please don't change the font to something that you think looks cool unless you're asked to do so, which you probably won't be asked to do so. Okay, not for a document. Alright, italics, which is this I here, are generally used when you reference other titles. So here I have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That's another title to a book. Maybe I referenced it for something. I'm going to italicize it. Okay. Essays are left aligned, which we already did, and each new paragraph is tabbed in. So here I have the start of a new paragraph. On the left side of their keyboard is a button that says tab. I can push it once and it tabs it about a ½ an inch, which is where you want it to be. You do not need to push space like 5 or 10 times. Push the tab button. So here I have another new paragraph. I can tell because it ended there's a lot of space right here after this line. I push tab again. Here again, I can see there's lots of space, so this must be the start of a new paragraph. I can push tab, and I have one more. So now I can tell I have 4 paragraphs. One other thing in here, please make sure you push the space bar one time after you put a period or question mark. So when you're starting a new sentence, push the space bar. Okay, it helps show that you are starting a new sentence. Finally, many essays are double spaced. So that doesn't mean that you have to push enter twice. Not how it works. So what you're going to do, highlight everything. Over next to where your alignment is, there's line spacing. If you click on it, you have options. You could have single space, which makes it even more squished together. It was already at 1.15. We want double. So double space makes it easier to read. If it's printed out, it allows you to write between the text, so you're not trying to figure out what it says. Okay, so overall, it looks pretty boring, but again, think about what books look like. They're easy to read. You don't have to worry about what the text is saying because it all looks the same. Now, a couple other quick tips that Google Docs can help you with. If you notice, I have quite a few things that are red underlined. Those are pointing out places where I might have mistakes. Okay, now I do have, as you notice, there are a couple things that have underlined. So some are red, some are blue. Your red ones are generally your spelling errors. So here, I spelled the word something wrong. If I click on it, it gives me a suggestion, something. So I forgot the E, it's now spelled correctly. If it's blue underlined, there's generally something that's punctuation wrong, or you might have repeated the word. So teachers should have had an apostrophe. Sorcerers should have had an apostrophe. Here I put the twice. I just want it once. I can click on it and fix it. It will do it for me. So if you see anything that's got squiggly underlined, whether it's red or blue, check into what happened and make sure it is fixed to how you want it. Another thing that you can do in Google Docs that doesn't necessarily go with an essay, but if you're doing something else with it, if you want to make a numbered list, so maybe you're making an outline or you just want a list of things, there's a numbered list. So there's my 1. I can type what you want it to look like. Okay, notice I'm back to what I had the font before. I want black, Times New Roman. It'll adjust it for me. Okay, you can just push enter when you're done and it'll keep going on your list. If you want bullet points, one right next to it is bullet points. You can make checkboxes, you can make arrows, any different shapes. Generally the bullet points or the checkboxes are the ones you're going to want to go with. One cool feature of all the Google apps is down in the right hand corner here, and it is called the Explore tool. If you click on that, let's say you are researching your paper. So here I was typing about MLA. I can type in what I want to search about, and it will pull up different websites that go with it. If I happen to need images, it will also have images and anything you've been working on in your own Google Drive. So if I want to know more about MLA format, I can check these as my sources. But if you are writing a paper on civil rights, you could search here and find some sources for what you need. Another tool that is in Google Docs is the dictionary and synonyms. So say you're reading through and you notice you're finding that you use the same word a few times, kind of sounds odd. So like here, I used push the tab button instead of pushing space. Make sure you push space. If I highlight and I go up to tools, there is one that says dictionary. So it gave me the definition. And if I look through, so this top one, exert force on, is the one I would need. Hey, I could use the word press instead. Okay, so I'm going to use press instead. I'm going to change my word to press. Okay, so that synonym tool can help you pick out new words if you happen to find something over and over. Please make sure that your synonym means what you think it means. So notice I clicked on press here, and again I can apply pressure to something. That would be pressing a key. Be careful, there are synonyms that don't mean what you intend it to mean. That's the dictionary tool. Another tool that's good in Google Docs is the word count. So a lot of papers and essays will tell you it must be at least 500 words, or it must be 1,000 words, or maybe they don't want you to write more than 250. So what you can do is highlight your words, and if you go to tools, there is a word count. So the word count will tell you I only have one page. I have 213 words. My actual paragraphs, I only have 193. Characters are all the individual letters and spaces, and then characters except for spaces tells you that many. Okay, if you are worried about your word count and you don't want to keep clicking, there is the option for you to display it as you are typing. In MLA format, there's one other thing that you need to put, and it goes at the top of your paper. So if you double click into the space up at the top, it will open what's called the header. So in the header, you should have two things. You should have your last name, okay, and the page number. Now, don't just type 1 because we're on the first page. What you're going to do is go to Insert, and then down there is Page Numbers, and we want it in the top corner. Okay, so I have last name, page number. Those two things need to be aligned to the right. Now, one of the reasons we had to put page number instead of just typing in the number, if I go onto the second page, it automatically continues the page number. If I had just typed the number, when I go to the next page, notice it's the same, which is not what we wanted. Okay, those are pretty much all the things that you are going to need for MLA format and working in Google Docs.